All right, here we go. Another episode of Talkin Dodgers. I am pumped. Is anybody else in this room pumped? I feel like it might just be me. That's totally fine.
I'm pumped when he gets swept.
We didn't get swept. That's good. And if we can go over who got the right guess on this one, would be me. I said the Dodgers take 1 out of 3. But anybody watch any Deadpool? Wolverine?
Of course.
Of course.
Not me.
Yeah, you're missing out. Brutality for sure. Okay. All right. So here's what's on deck. What's on deck brought to you by? We don't know yet. But real fast, what we got going on right now, Freddie Freeman's son has a family emergency, so Freeman's out for the weekend series. Dodgers take 1 out of 3 of the Astros this weekend. Let's talk about the future of the starting rotation. Is Lux becoming the real deal? Trade needs and rumors, and upcoming series versus the Padres. Before this episode starts, it's brought to you by Command Creative Studios. You looking to jump into the podcast world and, start making your own content? Command Creative Studios is your one-stop shop for professional podcasts. With a team of audio engineers, music composers, and graphic designers, Command Creative Studios can get your podcast sounding professional as well as looking professional. For more information, please visit commandcreativestudios.com. All right. Let's just jump in, guys. We got a lot of content we're going to try to throw at you within 40 minutes. All right, so here's a triple play recap brought to you by Toyota. Go get a car. All right, so Astros. Let's talk about game 1 on Friday. Dodgers played the Astros. They looked miserable. Dodgers lost 0. They put up a big 0-5. Gavin Stone pitched 6 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, gave up 2 homers, walked 2, and struck out 3. Shining moments were Ohtani and Lux both went 2 for 3. Other than that, the Dodgers did not look great. Mike, how do you feel about Gavin Stone? What'd you see?
I think he did all right. He gave up some critical homers in clutch situations.
Besides the homers, how did he look, though?
I think he did okay. I mean, I think he's still getting the feel of it. I don't think the batting helped when he had 15 Ks.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's not good.
No. I mean, he gave up 5 runs. I don't think it's horrible considering he's still, relatively new young guy.
Right.
But he needs help on the offensive side too.
Does he have the swag you're looking for though? What do you think of his? How do you think of his demeanor up there when obviously he wasn't pitching a gem?
I think he's a work in progress.
Yeah,
work in progress. He's all right. I just don't think he's not my boy River Ryan. That's for sure.
We'll get to River Ryan. I love me some Gavin Stone. I think Gavin Stone's been like one of the biggest bright shining lights throughout the Dodgers rotation this season. He's been the most consistent. I feel like. I mean, obviously this wasn't his best game going into Houston. Leading the series off, and then obviously the bad blood between the Dodgers and the Astros. At least the fan base wise, there should be bad blood.
Well, and we talked about it in the last pod, right? That team's got great plate discipline, and they'll jump on good pitches. You give them something to hit, they're going to take it for a ride.
Yeah.
It's not like they're a slouch, so he had his work cut out for him.
For sure.
Yeah, I guess he kind of battled, right? Because he was up against their ace.
Yeah.
Who pitched like an ace that day with 10 strikeouts, but Stone gave up 9 hits and walked 2 batters. So you could to spin it positively, giving up only 4 runs with that amount of people on base, it was him battling.
Yeah,
because it could have gotten a lot uglier. You're talking about 11 base runners,
right? I mean, there's not much to talk about that game as far as the Dodgers' performance because their bats didn't really show up. It didn't seem like there was. How do I say this? It didn't seem like it was it felt like a one-sided game throughout, at least for me. Like it just felt like it was the Astros game through and through to win. The next 2 games, obviously there was some push and pull. They felt like they were more of a competition. The first game, it just felt like the Dodgers weren't there, and I feel like
it's almost like a jet lag.
Yeah, and it might have had to do, to be honest, we didn't touch about this. I wanted to talk about it briefly, which was Freddie Freeman was not in the lineup. You're talking about one of the most consistent hitters for the Dodgers, and he had a family emergency with his son, so he was not there. And I guarantee you, to not having that bat in the lineup is a struggle to begin with. But then to try to replace him with, Gavin Biggio playing first base, that's not the recipe for success. I'll tell you.
No, I'm sure it's a curveball for the team and mentally, and maybe their heads weren't in it at the time, but nonetheless, got to play big boy baseball.
That's true. But speaking of Gavin Biggio, let's talk about Saturday's game. This is the one I want to touch on the most out of the three, and it's the one that they lost because I would say, Mike, you and I, and even Max, we've had this conversation, and I've had this conversation with Aaron before as far as like, I've defended Dave Roberts a lot, and this is one game that completely pissed me off. But let's talk about Wrobleski. It's very difficult for me to say his name. Is it Wrobleski?
Wrobleski.
Is it Wrobleski?
Big Lebowski, like Big Lebowski. Let's call him the Big Wrobleski.
Wrobleski. Anyways,
Big Wrobleski.
I thought he pitched great. He pitched. He only lasted 5 2/3. I think he should have went six innings pitched. He kept getting into some jams, but he was able to pitch his way out of it.
Agreed.
He only had 2 Ks. He was letting him hit the ball. They was letting him hit, but a lot of it was weak contact. Some of it was hard. But I feel like when let's just jump into the 6th inning. The Dodgers had a 5-0 lead going into the 6th inning. There was 2 outs. You had a runner on first and you had a runner on third. And yeah, it looked like they were starting to figure him out a little bit, but there was breathing room to let this kid kind of figure things out. And I was really disappointed. And Dave Roberts does this a lot. And I don't watch a lot of other games that are not Dodger games. So it's kind of hard for me to tell what other managers are doing. Max, maybe you can help me out on this because you watch a lot of Yankee games. It really frustrates me when you'll pull a pitcher out with 1 out left, right, in an inning, and you'll put in like a dominant pitcher, like a closer, or a really good setup man to get 1 out, but then you're going to leave him in for the next inning. So you're trying to squeeze this pitcher who normally pitches only 1 inning, and you're trying to get 4 outs from him. And you'll have that pitcher come in and say they'll get their out, but then they'll sit while the other team hits, and then they'll come there. I feel like some pitchers aren't built for that, and Dave Roberts did this a lot with Kenley Jansen, and it used to piss me off. And now he's doing it with Phillips, and it pissed me off. So before Phillips even gave up a run, I was already upset that they took out Wrobleski. I was upset, especially since the conversation, Mike, that you and I had, or Max, with you wanted to see what these kids could do, and you wanted to leave them in the fire. Yeah, we talked about it
last week. Agreed.
What a perfect example was to leave this kid in with a 5-run lead.
Yeah.
I don't understand the thinking of taking him out unless like he had already gone over his pitch count, which that could be possible, or maybe his arm was dead. But I feel like he had enough tank in the tank to try to get one more out.
He was almost at a double play on that last batter. The one up the middle was deep.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a speedy runner. I mean, I think he should have left him in there to get the last out. I mean, he pulled him early. Bottom line.
There's a couple of things with that, and I mean, I'm not saying just generally because it's across baseball because everybody's using analytics, right? So usually when they're pulling players, in this case he's a rookie, so he might, like you mentioned, he might be on an innings limit, but they're looking at their spin rate. If there's a dip or drop off in there, kind of like what we would call his arm is kind of like you said. You just mentioned it. Whether his arm is getting dead, so it could have been one of those situations. I was trying to look to see if they have his numbers on, especially spin rate. That's one of the big things everybody looks at with pitchers now. And then the other thing could be with Phillips, does Roberts do this a lot with Phillips? Because it could be I don't want to say trying something out for the postseason, because in the postseason that's very common for relief pitchers to do 4 outs or 5 outs.
It's possible, but then we did have that one play where I think Kike was at third playing real deep, and then there's a grounder to Kike, and he was late on the throw that left the inning open. If Kike is playing closer to the bag, maybe that gets Phillips out of the jam.
Well, it's like okay.
That's a good point too.
Because it was a grounder to third, and the guy beat it out. But then at the same time, are we saying that Phillips blew it and couldn't get one out? I mean,
that's not really what. Look, Phillips didn't have his best pitching performance, but they weren't also hitting him hard. There was a lot of soft contact that just happened to fall in the right places, and it was. I think a lot of it was. I would say maybe 50% of it was bad luck, and 50% of it was just good hitting on the Astros part.
Well, I mean,
I'm not blaming Phillips for the loss of the game. I just think that it was unnecessary. I feel like it was over management. I don't think it was necessary to put Phillips in that situation. Yeah, because you had a 5-run lead.
I think he should have been able to battle through it, like we talked about last week.
But
He didn't give that shot.
Yeah, worst case scenario though, he gives up a 3-run homer, right? Then you take him out, then you put Phillips in. You're still up 5-3 with one of your best pitchers coming in. I feel like that's a better result, and that's kind
it's
of
a fresh start. You don't have runners
a
in
fresh
running.
start.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't like it. With a 5-run lead, let the kid finish. I am looking at his pitch numbers though. He was at 82 pitches. I'm not really sure what his max is.
I would have given him another batter.
It should have been one more batter. I really think it should have been at least.
Well, it's not like his velocity was dropping off drastically. He looked fine.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to touch base on that and how you guys felt on it.
Well, mismanagement, in my opinion.
I agree.
Another poor managing decision by Roberts. And when we get into our next segment on Game 3, we could discuss that again.
I'm looking at deep in these numbers. Maybe they thought that they gave him too much time because his hard hit percentage was pretty high. The barrel percentage was high as well. So maybe he got a little lucky. Maybe he should have gotten hit harder or given up more runs. And they were worried like, hey, we got to take him out now because we've already went past where we should have kept him.
With a 5-run, I understand if it's a 1-run lead or a 2-run lead, but a 5-run lead, I feel like you could save the bullpen a little bit, especially since you already know you have another rookie coming in the next game that you're probably going to use these guys for, which we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the same thing that we were harping on last week is let these guys pitch through battle-tested situations.
Right.
It just seemed like Roberts was quick to pull the hook.
Yeah, I think it's a pandemic in baseball that these managers are quick to go to their pen,
Yeah.
And it's just every team. It's kind of ridiculous.
Well, I mean,
whether you're throwing a no-hitter or not, they're itching to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And history has shown, and it's ironic now, is that I'm complaining about Roberts pulling guys too early. In the postseason the last several years, he's been leaving guys in too long. So,
yeah, it's
I don't know.
It's one of those things to be like this.
You got to read the player.
I also
let him play.
Like I said, I don't normally jump on Roberts for certain things because hey, if Phillips gets the out, am I still upset about it?
Probably not.
I was actually. That's the one thing. Like I was upset when he put Phillips in before. I thought Phillips was going to get an out and he'd be out of it, no problem. But I wanted to see what the kid could do.
Agreed.
But other situations when Roberts leaves somebody in a little bit too long or takes him out too quick, it could go either way. But with a 5-run lead, bottom line though, Phillips didn't do his job. But at the same time, I think Phillips shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. All right, but let's move on. I think we stuck on this in too long. We're gonna have another game to talk about and gripe about. But really quick, shout out to Biggio though. He went 2 for 3. He had a double and a homer.
Made Daddy proud.
And it made his dad proud. His dad was in the stands watching. Ohtani had a smash rocket to right field that looked like it was still going up when it actually hit the back wall. That thing was a crush. The bats showed up to this game. It's the pitching that just basically just blew it for him. This game, the Dodgers should have won. But you know what? Sometimes things don't go your way. Baseball is baseball. All right, let's jump into Game 3. So now here's your boy. We could talk about River Ryan. River Ryan went 5 2/3 innings pitched, gave up 1 earned run. He walked 3, had 8 Ks, only gave up 2 hits. I was really impressed with his swag. You're talking about you wanted these guys to have some swag or whatever it was you were calling it last.
Swag.
Time.
He's got it.
He's right. I would say he's got it for sure. I like his attitude.
And I don't think the game was too big for him either. Even when he missed on his spots, you could see him like he wasn't scared that he missed his spot. He knew like, all right, next pitch I'm going to come go after this guy and get it.
Right.
Even when he gave up that big double in the 5th, I think. Mm-hmm. Off the wall, he just kind of shrugged it off and, got back in there and battled and kept pitching. I thought he looked great. He
looked a little shaky in the first inning. He got that double play to get him out of the jam, which I thought was beautiful.
That might be his thing though. He may be a slow starter, but at the same time, I can see him being picky with his pitch selection on with Bergman and Altuve.
Right.
Because even later on in the game, he was a little bit selective on his spots. He didn't miss by much.
Right.
We talked about it in the preview of the series last episode that the Astros don't strike out a lot. I think more impressive than he only allowed 2 hits, which is impressive. But to me, what's more impressive is he had 8 strikeouts against that team that doesn't strike out. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
We're talking about guys who know the strike zone and who can freaking hit. And he got him 8 times. That was really impressive.
Yeah. And he was because this was his second game, right? I believe. Yeah. This is his
second
game.
start.
I honestly thought that this is the one game that the Dodgers were going to lose for sure because he's so young at pitching. And I thought the way that the Astros hit, they were going to look at some video of him and figure his stuff out. But no, he came in and attacked him, and I was really impressed with him.
Well, and also, what was it, 0-0 going into the fourth? Like, it was a tight game the whole time he was pitching. It's not like he was pitching was the lead.
Yeah, and then until Outman, my boy, finally showed up, and he had some plays in center field, and one of them in particular that I don't think Paez makes. Which was he caught a fly ball very aggressively, but he threw the ball into third base and kept Altuve at second. And I feel like with the way Paez's arm is, Altuve would have went for it and tried to tag up because it was a pretty deep hit. And Outman also had a really good read on a jump in center field and made a defensive play that it's questionable if Paez would have gotten. I really want Outman to start hitting so we could put him in center field because his defense is going to be crucial come September, getting into the playoffs in October. And hopefully he figures it out. But let's talk about Lux also. Lux is batting third in this game, which is quite impressive for him. I understand, with Freddie Freeman out, Betts out, you didn't have Will Smith wasn't in the lineup. So you have your 3 of your big hitters not in the lineup. That means they have an opportunity to put someone else in third. They chose Gavin Lux. Obviously, lefty, righty, lefty. That's the way that Roberts wants to do it. It's the way the Dodgers want to do it. But the way that Lux has been hitting, which I know we're going to talk about it later, Lux deserves this spot. When he gave him a homer. He walked 3 times. He was he did a really good job in that spot.
I think it's good for his confidence too.
He's riding high on his confidence. I see.
Yeah. That. Well, when we get Freeman back and Betts and everybody else, if that guy's hitting in the 3 spot and he start able to moving around and he's force to be reckoned with, it'll just make the team that much better.
I think I think what they ultimately wanted to do was have Lux bat 9th because it's almost like having another leadoff hitter.
Yeah, I agree.
In front of Betts when Betts comes back because Betts is taking back that leadoff spot. Ohtani's not going to sit there. You get if you get Lux back down there and he's hitting the way that he's hitting, to have your 9 hitter hitting the way that he's hitting, man, it's going to be real good for the Dodgers. Teoscar had another homer. He went 2 for 5. He is continuing to produce. I mean, I meant to actually look what his stats are since the All-Star break, but I bet you they're pretty good. I bet you his slugging percentage is
through the roof.
Through the roof for sure. But let's talk about really fast. So River Ryan, he got pulled in the 6th inning. Mike,
pulled early again.
I think you had some discrepancies on that, but you know what? That's the only inning that I actually missed. So why don't you tell me what happened in that inning?
Well, so I think he had 2 outs.
But then he did give up a run, though, and this game was a little bit closer. This game was a 3-0 going into that inning, correct?
It might have been. Well, I know is they put Vesey in and they gave him a first pitch fastball and he hit it over the fence.
In Vesey's defense,
so it's 3. He's been okay. It was 3-0 going into that inning, and then they had 2 outs when they pulled him, and Vesey's first pitch was a high fastball to Pena, and he took him yard. Made it 3-2. I would have left him in for one more batter. To me, his swag, his velocity was still there. He was still hitting 97 miles an hour in that inning. I mean, he was up in like 82 pitches or something like that, but I still would have left him in.
Yeah.
I don't really love Vesey. I mean, he's good, but I would have given the kid another shot to get out of that inning, just like they should have done with our boy Wrobleski in game 2.
That's fair. That's fair.
I just think he's quick to the hook.
But he did give up. River Ryan did actually give up 1 run, correct? And then they actually got taken out?
No. It was 3-0 when he got pulled.
Was it really? No.
Yeah, he earned the run on the 2-run homer, but it was 3-0 when they pulled him. Runner on second, I think.
So he basically did the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think he would have learned from his mistakes. Apparently he didn't.
I will say he's got some dirty off-speed stuff.
You know what? They seem like they all do. Like even Gavin Stone. Gavin Stone's changeup is incredible. Like they must be changed. Or I wonder if that's where Kershaw's getting his changeup because he's been using his recently.
I don't know. Maybe our guy Pryor's coaching these guys up a little bit to get better at their pitch selection.
Yeah, some franchises they'll have like a pitching guru or somebody who teaches them, because like the Yankees, they all learn cutters. You know, I don't know if it's a residue of Mariano, but franchises do that.
Yeah,
so maybe somebody's teaching a really filthy changeup out there.
That's pretty cool.
Possible.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mark Pryor is a USC guy, and then I think he was with the Cubs for a few years. Supposed to be, was going to be dominant, but I don't think his career went the way he was.
Yeah, I remember Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor. Man, that was supposed to be a thing. Kerry Wood's arm gave out, and Pryor was, they had flashes though.
Yeah,
we brought it way back, man.
All right. I think that's going to do it for our triple play recap that was brought to you by Toyota. If you're driving a car, why not a Toyota?
Why Toyota of all things?
No, man. I don't know. All right, so let's jump into our 10-minute player spotlight. Max, take it away. Who's sponsoring this part?
Player Spotlight is brought to you by Rot Your Brain Media, the up-and-coming podcast company delivering top-quality content across all podcast platforms. From sport entertainment to in-depth movies and TV reviews, Rot Your Brain Media is your go-to for fun and exciting content. Don't miss out. Visit their Patreon page at patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia to support this dynamic new company and be part of something special. Subscribe now and get ready to have your brain truly entertained.
Well done. All right. So we got some topics here that we're going to go over in the player spotlight. First thing I wanted to hit, though, is talk about these young pitchers. I think we touched on it a little bit in the last episode, but we got 4 guys that I want to talk about. And we're not even including like Emmett Sheehan or even, the other guys who are like coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Bobby Miller.
I didn't even put Bobby Miller in here. Bobby Miller should be part of this group.
Yeah, he struggled in his last outing.
He struggled in his last outing, but Bobby Miller should be part of this conversation. But I was talking about like, and then even Emmett Sheehan, but then you still have got, oh my God, drawing a blank on people's mind or names.
Knack?
No, Knack's on here.
In there.
Knack's on here.
Young pitchers are you just talking about?
I'm going to talk about these 5 for right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone, River Ryan, Landen Knack, and I called Landen Knack Brandon Lack last episode. I almost wanted to put a little shout out there, but whatever. And then Justin Wrobleski.
I think we should just call him the Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski. Anyways, you talk about these 5 young pitchers right now. We're going to leave Emmett Sheehan out for the moment because he's not going to be back for quite a while because I believe he had Tommy John surgery. I could be wrong, Max, but I'm pretty sure he had Tommy John surgery. These 5 players right now, I feel like any team would love to have these guys in their starting rotation to build if you were to start a new franchise, this would be a good cornerstone to have. What I'm afraid is that we have so much pitching right now, we're going to lose one of these pitchers in the trade deadline coming up pretty soon.
I don't think so.
I feel like we're going to. And one guy that I feel like, because there's been this whole thing going on with Crochet, how do you say that guy's last name in Chicago White Sox? Their ace.
Yeah.
Which we're going
to bring that up.
We were going to bring him up, but I got to bring him up now because of this whole conversation with these pitchers. And the beginning of this, when we started doing this podcast, we talked about how we should be in a 6-man rotation, and really because we have nothing but young pitchers and broken arms that we're trying to make sure that we can, we have pitchers coming from Japan who only pitch like once a week. You've got guys who are going to go over their pitch or go over their inning pitch or their inning pitched with Glass now. Guys coming back from injury with Kershaw and Walker Buehler, and then you have young guys like Bobby Miller. Gavin Stone, who haven't pitched this much. So you wanted to keep these guys fresh. So I keep hearing about Garrett Crochet. I think that's how you say his name. And he is way over his pitch limit, or this is the most he's ever pitched right now.
This is the first time he's been an official starter.
Starter. And there's been other podcasts that I've listened to. There's been other articles that I've read that everyone wants to get this guy so bad that they're willing to give away the farm from him. And I really think that is a bad idea to give away any one of these pitchers, because I think that any one of these 5 pitchers that I just talked about with Stone, Ryan, Big Lebowski, Knack, and Bobby Miller, any one of these guys I feel like could be an ace in a rotation the next 2 or 3 years.
We need middle relief and closers. We don't need to trade for another starter.
That brings me up to this. So we have these 5 pitchers right here who are getting top quality starts at the moment. And every single time a pitcher comes up, they're going to be basically pushed to the side. So, for instance, Landen Knack, I don't think he's scheduled to pitch again right now. He could be put back. I think he might have been sent back down. I could be wrong. So, and when Buehler comes back, when Yamamoto comes back, hopefully these 2 pitchers are going to come back. These other pitchers, they're going to either be sent down to the minors or they could be used as a bullpen piece, in my opinion.
I would move to bullpen piece to me.
I think some of these guys would do really well as a bullpen piece. I don't think Stone, I feel like has established himself. He's not going back down. I think he's going to be starter or nothing else.
Well,
I think maybe actually, I can't say nothing else, but for right now, out of all these pitchers we talked about, I think Stone has really earned that spot. I think the way that Bobby Miller pitches, he would be great as a 1 inning, come in, throw as much gas as possible because he can hit 100 easily. And if he's only worried about pitching 1 inning, I think he could throw gas.
Well, we're gonna need it because we were the worst bullpen in baseball this month. Stat fact.
Yeah.
Were we really?
Worst bullpen in baseball. Yeah. And I will say this, we had 37 plus strikeouts this series, dude. That ain't gonna cut it.
Yeah. Well,
we didn't have the greatest series against the Astros.
We didn't.
But
I think
back to your pitching, it's middle relief, dude.
Yeah, and I think it's middle relief and it's starting. I mean, I don't think we need this Crochet person. I really don't. I would
stick with what we got.
We have the pitchers we got, and I feel like I just wanted to bring that up and just recognize how lucky we are as Dodger fans to be able to have this issue where you have these 5 amazing pitchers sitting here while you have this other, we can put Yamamoto, but then also Ohtani in the mix as well, because he's going to be pitching next year, to have an issue where you have Ohtani, you have Kershaw, you have Glasnow, you have Yamamoto, and you have, we're not sure what's going to happen with Walker Buehler because this is last year. We're probably not going to have him anymore. But then you still have Gavin Stone. You have those 5 pitchers right now, and then you have these rookies just sitting here. I mean,
the future looks bright. That's for sure. The future looks bright.
Yeah. I don't want to throw away the future to get a guy who's going to get a pit, going to be in.
Well, I mean, I don't think we need to. I really don't. Okay. We either need to shore up our bullpen, or maybe get one of these guys to be middle relief, or bring him in for an inning or 2 and split it between them and one of our premier starters.
So we talked about last week how great their minor league system is with the Dodgers, and one of the strengths there is actually pitching, right? So, like I was looking it up. River Ryan right now is their 4th ranked prospect, right?
Just pitching wise or overall?
Overall, they're number 4.
Nice.
And there's actually another pitcher ahead of him at number 3, Nick Frasso, right? Who's supposed to be even really good, better than him. The Big Lebowski, he was the 14th ranked player in their system. So
I'm not gonna lie,
there's a ton of pitchers in between there. So that's the kind of player that will land you a great arm in your bullpen. And the reason everybody's after Garrett Crochet is because this is the time of year where everybody's trying to really get that last piece to go over. We'll talk about it in the next segment in the trading deadline. So the Dodgers are looking for starting pitching, high-end starting pitching. He's having a great year, and he's a strikeout kind of pitcher, which is huge come playoff times. You want a pitcher who's going to miss bats. So that's why everybody's after a pitcher like that. But we'll talk about one of the stipulations if you get in bed with.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we try to pick up Yu Darvish a few years ago in trade deadline, and that didn't work out very well in the playoffs?
Well, that's because we're tipping pitches and there's trash cans.
That was
totally different.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel bad for Darvish because he
got smoked by the Cubs, I think.
So my only thing is, these pitchers have shown great promise, but they have a dearth of pitching talent in the minors, and you got to give to get. And if you're going to get, a quality middle reliever or even a high-end closer, we'll talk about that in the next segment. You got to give up some of these pitchers, and you have a ton of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. I think we touched on that a little long enough. Let's talk about Lux really quick. Let's give Lux his due, which we probably gave it last episode, but I want to do it again because I'm actually really impressed with Lux. Let's see. Max, why don't you read these stats to me? Copy and paster.
Listen, not to bore everybody, but one of the biggest things, noticing how hot he's been in the last 10 games, he's slugging .929, which is ridiculous. That's because he's had 4 doubles, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and he's batting .464. I mean, those are ridiculous. That's what earns you the number 3 spot. Granted, Freeman's not there, but he's living up to his hype. And then before you go, the 30-game slugging. So it's not a short sample here. He's been raking for a while.
Yeah.
The 30 game is extremely impressive too. That he's slugging .523. Again, 5 doubles, 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, 10 walks. I mean, and he's batting .295. That's what you expected from the former number 1 prospect in your system. And I know you and Aaron talked about it during spring training. It was going to be his confidence and getting his knee strengthened, and then it looks like all of that is coming to fruition, and he's proving everybody that he can ball.
Yeah, he's coming back around. We talked about it last week too.
Yeah.
He's coming off injury. He just need to get his legs underneath him, like you mentioned, and his confidence back. But I think the timing is right. Not that we want injuries. We lost Betts, we lost Muncy, then Freeman being gone for this series. It put him in a spot to be a difference maker for our team, and he's proven it right now. If he keeps this up the rest of the season, we'll be looking really good.
That lineup.
I'm not a huge. I wasn't a huge Lux fan at the beginning, but he's shown a lot of promise. I mean, I just didn't see him as elite level prospect when he first came up. Then he got hurt, but right now I can't deny his numbers.
No, yeah. And then it's also not forgetting he did it again. He's hitting at least this 10-game sample size, whatever. He just, against the Giants, who has pretty decent pitching, he performed against the Giants, and then now he just performed against the Astros, who have decent pitching as well.
Yeah,
I would say right now, those are the 2 biggest rivalries for the Dodgers right now, is the Giants.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have, baby brother coming up in the next segment, the next series against the 2-game series against San Diego. It's nice to know that he can actually produce the way that the Dodger franchise wanted him to, and you can see why they never gave up on him, that they decided to take that chance and put Betts at shortstop and move him to second base. When his defense wasn't working at second base or at shortstop, you figured they probably would have, just moved on, but they knew that his bat was going to be something special, and we're actually seeing it. And if he can just hold on, I'm not saying that he can hold on to this for the rest of the season, but if he can at least hover around a .250 batting average and then kind of give you some spark ever so often, I mean, that's kind of what you want from him right now when you have these other top dogs in the lineup with
he showed a little bit of spice today, too. You see that one up and in, and he got a little pissed off. I thought he was going to charge him down, maybe. I'd never seen that in him before, where he had a little bit of, attitude or like a.
I liked it.
I did, too. It was neat to see.
I mean, it didn't look like he was going to charge, but he gave a look, and then it made the catcher kind of walk
he definitely said something. I thought that was great.
Yeah, no, it was good to see. So, and let's not forget also, I don't see that stat here, Max, because I don't think we even thought about looking it up, but I think he's only has 1 or 2 errors at second base. He's actually playing some gold. Really? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's playing some Gold Glove caliber second base. Going from a position where he just couldn't play at all at shortstop, it seemed like he just couldn't get his throws going. He's had a lot of ips with even just straight up just getting in front of the ball and just squaring it up and just getting a routine grounder. He didn't look great, but when he moved to second base,
to me, there's a lot of pressure to play shortstop for the Dodgers.
A ton.
What's he? Did you find out his errors?
Yeah, I'm looking up his fielding.
I think it's only
now.
1 or 2. If it's only one or two, then
here we go. So for this year, he has 1 or 2. Give the guy some credit. He has 3 errors. That's really good.
Wow.
Yeah, 108 putouts, 172 assists. I mean, his fielding percentage is .989. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's Gold Glove caliber you're talking about right here.
And the way he's hitting is, I don't think there's going to be any real. If he keeps on the tear he's hitting right now, no one's going to be. He's not going to be. There's no going to be the lefty-righty matchup thing. I think he's going to be the permanent second baseman. That's kind of what I think that he was supposed to be anyways. He wasn't supposed to sit out when there's left-handed pitching. He was supposed to be in there, and I think they're going to start going more towards that, which would be pretty exciting.
They got to let him play. Enough of the analytics. If he keeps hitting like this, leave him in. Let him play.
All right.
Yeah. And just one last thing. In 2022, at second base, he had 9 errors. So he's off to a great start.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. All right. What was next on our list in this?
The trade deadline.
The trade deadline. So
Talking about some players. We talked about some.
What do you got?
So the one thing with Garrett Crochet, I don't know if you guys, there's rumors circulating that if you get involved with him, he will not pitch in the postseason or allowed to be put into the bullpen if he doesn't get a contract extension. He's kind of following. Josh Hader had something very similar with the Milwaukee Brewers. They're like, hey, if you're not giving me extension, I'm not going to do back-to-back days. I'm not going to do 4-out saves. I'm not going to do things because, like, I'm in jeopardy of hurting my arm. And
I remember that.
Now everybody's talking about, like, pitchers are going to start doing things like this.
Actually, I think he was doing that with San Diego, wasn't he?
Yeah, San Diego too. Yeah,
that,
everybody. Because until somebody committed to giving him a contract, he had these stipulations. And word is Crochet is kind of going that same route. And other pitchers are going to start doing this in the future too. It's a new age. So it's like, hey, if you trade for me, you better commit that you're going to give me a long-term deal or I'm not pitching in the playoffs.
I'm not a fan of this new age stuff. Come on, play. Hey, we play to win the game, right? Come on.
And you're supposed to get insurance on yourself.
Exactly.
Get a high insurance policy if you get hurt. That'll pay you out. And then,
I think some of these guys forget is the whole point of playing the game is to win World Series. But I hope these are just rumors and that's not what he's really like if we pick him up. But I don't think we need him.
I mean, the guy.
I think he's talking about a guy who's afraid his arm's going to fall off.
Yeah, because he's pitched 114 innings, has 160 strikeouts. His WHIP is pretty much 1, so he's been pretty much lights out. So
I don't know if we need him though.
I don't think we need him.
No,
but but at the same time, hey, if we can get him and give up barely anything, then yeah, I'm for it. But I don't want to give away somebody that I'm really excited to see what they could become for somebody that I'm hoping is not going to break down tomorrow. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think he's got the track.
Didn't he already have Tommy John? I think he had Tommy John surgery already.
Possible.
Yeah, and I feel like all now the contenders are looking to get him. So
the way pitchers are in this league right now, I feel like it's like, didn't he already have Tommy John?
Oh yeah,
50%.
They're getting it in high school now.
Yeah.
So. The other player that people are talking about is for the Dodgers is the All-Star closer Tanner Scott from the Marlins. Again, all the contenders are in on him. He's having a career low 1.18 ERA. 53 strikeouts and only 19 hits over 45 innings, which is really good for a reliever. So everybody's looking whether he'll be a closer at time, an eighth inning or seventh inning guy. A few years ago, Atlanta did that trade with Anaheim Angels for Iglesias, and that basically helped them win the World Series. So a lot of teams are thinking under that same premise, like, hey, we might have a closer, but if we bring another closer in, we're just shortening the game like, my 90s Yankees used to do.
Yeah, we need a dominating closer, in my opinion. I mean, we tried, what was it, Keuchel a couple years ago or last year, right? Dallas? Is that his name?
Dallas Keuchel.
Keuchel, I think we had.
Yeah, really?
Did we?
Yeah, we had him for
a pitcher.
Yeah.
He was a starting pitcher.
He didn't do well. I think he was a closer for us. I think that was the name. The guy that had the arm up all funny when he started.
Oh, that's Kimbrel.
Oh, Kimbrel. Sorry,
like,
you're right.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah, I was like,
my bad, Kimbrel. My bad.
Yeah.
The Hawk.
It started with a K.
Yeah. No, you were close. He's closing for. Well, he's attempting to close for Baltimore.
He's not doing very well.
Yeah, he's not doing very well as their closer, and they're also looking for a closer as well.
If this guy's good, let's go for it. I mean, we need a closer and middle relief. I don't think we need starting pitching.
Yeah, and he could play both. He could do both roles.
I would say, like, if the bullpen didn't do what they just did right now in Houston with Phillips, then even trying and giving up the game-winning homer in the second game, and then even Daniel Hudson hasn't been looking solid. Those are my three guys that I was like, dude, we've got three guys who could be closers on other teams, and if those guys were right, two setup guys and a closer, either one, they could just rotate that and just play the matchups for that. And then you pepper in Vessier, who's doing a pretty good job. You still got, even though I'm not a huge fan of him, a lot of the times, what's his name? Wild Thing Vaughn, 99.
Kelly?
Kelly. Yeah,
I like Kelly.
When Kelly's right, I think he's the best. He is.
He's inconsistent, though. You're not wrong.
But when he's right, I think he's the best relief pitcher on the team. But when he's off, man, it's just all over the place. We're still waiting for Bruce Growell to come back, if he's even going to come back. And then Brazier. We're waiting for him as well. There's guys that are coming through the pipeline. If they were all like pretty consistent, if they were right, you'd have a really good bullpen if they were actually pitching the way they should be pitching.
Do we need closing?
But
what do you think, Robbie?
After saying all that, having another closer come in, having another pitcher that you can rely on, yes, because I
don't think there's not one guy in that bullpen that I would rely on. None of them are doing anything right now.
Right now, this very second, yes. But keep in mind, last year, it was almost the same thing, where last year the bullpen looked pretty shaky. But then once they got into September, or middle August, September, they were the best bullpen, in my opinion, I think, in the National League, possibly in the league, going into the playoffs. They pitched great in the playoffs. They pitched great, towards the end of the season. It was really just, the Dodgers didn't show up to hit.
Yeah.
So that's baseball, man.
Yeah. So those are the two.
But I would take a closer over
a starter
pitcher.
Over a starter right now.
Those are the two big fish that words. And then, a smaller move they're discussing is with the Cardinals on their super utility guy, Tommy Edman.
We don't need another utility guy. Oh my God.
He's actually hurt and he's rehabbing right now. But they're looking because
he'll fit right in. Get another injured guy.
But again, another utility guy who could play, infield, play center field.
Right.
He's pretty much a solid bench guy. Because at this time of year, you're really trying to, make sure you go into the postseason, fully stacked.
Right.
You don't want to be like, man, if I had another bat off the bench, we could have won this one game that's critical in the playoffs.
Right.
So they're big fish hunting if the right player comes around, but they're also looking for these auxiliary pieces that could, just strengthen the
No
roster.
more utility players. We need difference makers. If you're going to pick somebody with a trade deadline, it's got to be a difference maker.
Yeah, we don't need any guys that are batting sub 200.
Well, he batted 248 last year, and most of the Dodgers positions are pretty locked.
Yeah,
you're other than the bullpen and maybe a starter, your position players are kind of locked. Center field. Are you done with the Outman project?
I wouldn't mind if they go out there and they get an elite center fielder. Who that elite center fielder is available, because if you're going to go out and get.
Can we get rid of Hayward?
I wouldn't. I'm not opposed.
I don't know if anybody would take him. I don't know what his contract is right now.
It's a 1 year.
It's a 1 year?
It's a 1 year,
yeah. So it's nothing because you're only paying the rest of the season on that.
It'd be nice to get rid of Hayward and bring another outfielder in.
Yeah, but who's that outfielder? I saw another thing where they're like...
There's a lot of guys available.
Like, how bad are the Cubs right now? I don't even want to say the guy's name.
Well, they made a trade. Oh, wait, you're not talking about Cody, are you?
I saw another thing that popped up on my feed. We were talking about getting Bellinger. I'm like, no, I'm done with that. I just don't know what outfielder you go out and get that could be as an impact that would be a better impact than what you already have.
Well,
you know what I mean? I don't know if there is.
There's someone could shake. Look, Randy Rosarina just shook loose from the Tampa Bay, and no one really kind of saw that coming. I was kind of shocked. And, just a couple of years ago when he was a rookie, he was lighting it up and helped them get to the World Series.
Yeah.
So you never know when a team is just trying to dump payroll.
Players, yeah, I agree.
And who you can sneak around like, oh, shoot, I wouldn't even thought he was available.
Right.
Yeah.
So. All right. Let's move. Is anything else in the trade?
No, those are the three. You want to keep it short because, everybody's is possible. But these were the three that are in strongest rumors about.
Right. All right. Well, that does it for
this segment.
Let's move on to who's in the hole. No, what should we call this?
On deck series.
The on deck series preview. Yeah.
On deck. So I already have an on deck thing.
Oh, look at you! I got multiple on decks.
We have multiple on decks.
What is it? Double deck? What is it? What's the term?
Double decker.
Yeah.
All right. So who's the on deck series brought to you by?
Subway.
No.
We changed it. We took it Jimmy John's, right? Or not Jimmy John's. What's the other one? Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
There you go.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's. Eat like a king by a ding.
Mike's Way. I like that. We're using Jersey Mike's. Mike's Way.
Mike's Way is awesome.
There you go. Mike's
on deck series preview brought by Jersey Mike's. Get it Mike's Way.
All right, we're fishing. We're looking for some set sponsors, but in the meantime, we're just throwing in some people that we like. Unfortunately. All right, so really fast. So let's talk about the upcoming series with San Diego. We'll make this brief. First, I just want to point out. I don't know who's doing scheduling over it. Obviously, I don't because I don't think the guy's throwing his name out there. But who's ever doing the scheduling over in MLB to only make a 2-game series against little boy rival your West, to only have a 2-game series in the same against a team that's in your division is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that's even a thing. Like, it just pisses me off. There should be no 2 games anyways. Like, just either cut a whole series out, make every single thing 3-game.
Why does that bug you?
It just bugs me because there's got to be a best of.
They did that all year because it's not balanced right now. So
I hate it.
The Mets and Yankees just did 2-game Subway Series
it's the stupidest thing.
At Citi Field and at Yankee Stadium, which is
baseball
weird.
should never end in a tie.
Yeah,
it should never end in a tie. So if you have a 2-game series, a series can end in a tie. That is stupid.
Yeah. So
all right,
next year they're supposed to have helped fix that, and then when they add another team, they'll help improve that as well.
All right, so pitching matchups. I do believe it's Glasnow and Kershaw.
It is
Kershaw,
correct.
Right?
Yeah. That is right.
Okay. So that's right then and there. Super excited. What's kind of a little bit of we should be, paying attention, not only because it's the Padres, but I called it in the beginning of the year. There's one team in the West that I'm afraid of. And it's San Diego, because if they figured it out,
they're hot right now.
If they stop fighting with themselves, if they find like a common goal, which is to win baseball games and not be douchebags.
Did they drop their game against?
They lost today, but they had won 7 in a row or something.
Yeah, they won seven or 8 straight. That are 8-2 in the last 10. They're playing some good baseball right now.
They're 7-3 in the last 10. Same thing with the Dodgers. But they're playing good baseball, and they threw a no-hitter. They're hitting the ball really well.
Yeah, number 1 in the league.
Profar, which I cannot stand, he's playing like some MVP baseball right now.
Yeah.
And I can't stand that guy, but he's playing really good. So you talk about a team that's got swag, which they think they're the greatest team in baseball. They're gonna come into this game like it is the World Series for them, and they're gonna come in and just try to dominate the whole series.
Well, then only
the whole 2 games. So hopefully Glasnow becomes Glasnow of the past, because he has not looked dominant lately. It would be nice if he can come in and lights out, and Kershaw builds off of his last performance and really sticks it to this team, because I would love for them to win these 2 games in a row and kind of put this baby team back on their spot.
I think it's a big series, because I think San Diego's only 5.5 back from us.
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, it is huge.
It's a big series. If we drop both these, they're right back in it for the division.
Yeah, and so I feel like this and it sucks, because the Dodgers right now, they're playing handicap baseball at the moment. You have 2 of your best hitters at the moment, possibly 3. We don't know if Freeman's gonna be back yet before the series, but you don't have Betts, you don't have Muncy. Smith is not hitting well right now.
No excuses. Next man up. We got to win.
There's no excuses. Next man up. But that makes it more important for the Dodgers pitching to show up and shut down the offense of San Diego. That means starting pitcher's got to be there, and Phillips has got to pitch like Phillips can pitch. Kelly's got to get out of his head and pitch the way he's should be pitching. It'll be an interesting matchup.
Let me ask you guys this. All right. One of the problems the Dodgers have had over the last couple of seasons, they've been great and ran away with the division, and then come playoffs, they're kind of like, I don't want to say they got
stagnant.
They're stagnant,
lethargic.
Yeah. Would it be horrible if the Padres kind of crept up and made them play meaningful baseball in August and early September, and then they're more, they have that sense of urgency going into the playoffs? Because usually in baseball, last 10 years, it's like the hot team that just got in or who battled for their division, gets into the playoffs and they're hot and they go on a run. Would you guys, or do you prefer, let's just, cruise in August and September?
I would be more okay if it was the Giants giving the Dodgers a run for it. It's something about the Padres. I feel like
they have swag, man. We talked about it. Like they're hot right now. You don't need to give them any ammunition to think they can beat us.
Yeah,
they're too good of a team to give them an opportunity to know that they can win. We need to shut them down and beat them. Mike
is absolutely right, 100%.
They're too good to give them that mental edge, I guess you could say.
No. That's a great point.
But I agree with Robbie though. If it was a Giants, sure, whatever.
Who's pitching for San Diego?
Cease and Waldron. What's the guy? They're number 1 and their number 3 guy.
Okay. I don't know. I know nothing about San Diego except for that I don't like them. I mean, obviously we know Tatis. I was a Machado fan when he was a Dodger. I liked him, but
I couldn't. You know what? I was a Machado fan before he became a Dodger, and as I saw him play, and I saw his personality, and I saw the way he held himself, that's when I actually stopped liking him.
I was more of a fan when he was an Oriole. I agree with that.
Yeah.
When he came here, he just kind of
but I didn't see him that much.
became an ego.
Should have been a Yankee.
All right, so I'm looking at your comparison stats you got going over here, and then hopefully next week or 2 weeks from now, I'll have this all set up so we can put this thing on the video feed so we can look at these comparisons because I think this is important to look at.
Yeah.
One thing that sticks out to me right now, and the Dodgers are definitely showing it, is batting average. And do you have strikeout rate on here? Because I feel like the Dodgers have been striking out like it's no tomorrow.
So I got one on you. We have 41 strikeouts. This is one of the in the last 10 games, I think.
That is terrible.
Yeah, well, the thing with the,
it's a new record for the Dodgers, I read.
yeah.
Oh, geez.
San Diego might have a higher average and have more hits, but the thing that, the analytical
OBP
people, is
or
the slugging.
OBP, yeah.
The slugging and the home runs and the runs, the Dodgers clearly are stronger because, perfect example, San Diego, we were just talking about Gavin Lux, who we were talking about his slugging at second base. San Diego has a rise at first base, second base, wherever he decides to play. High average guy, but it's all singles.
Yeah.
People want doubles,
I like that guy, though,
home
too.
runs. Yeah, he's a great, get on base all the time kind of guy. But you kind of want a guy who's going to drive in, get doubles, get home runs. Because at the end of the day, base hits are great, but you want runs.
I agree.
That's how analytics lovers will want.
I agree.
You want runs. What is that? Moneyball? You're buying runs.
You're buying runs.
Yeah.
I will say, though, Mike, going back to what you were saying about putting the San Diego in their place, or at least, making sure we win these two games. If we win these two games and we don't have a Freeman and we don't have Betts and we don't have Muncy and you're peppering in like a Biggio and who's our shortstop right now? Good God. What's his name from San Diego?
Ahmed or something.
Ahmed, yeah.
Ahmed.
And you got these guys out there that are beating you. That's gonna.
I will say
that would basically hit them in the head a little bit and kind of like put them back in their place.
If Biggio's need to get more starts, I'd like to see be more aggressive at the plate.
He's got a good looking swing. I'm actually surprised he misses as much as he does.
Yeah, I just think
it's very
he needs
good.
to get a little bit more aggressive. But
yeah,
we can't give. If you give the Padres an inch, you're going to take a mile. They're just too talented, and they got that ego and that swag to them.
I really think, and I think I've said this before on our episodes. If the Padres got rid of Machado, they could be the best team in the West.
He's one of the best players.
I know, but I feel like his attitude is what really screws that team up.
Okay.
I don't know. I think we treat him and Tatis. I think it works.
Yeah, but look how well Soto's doing right now. Soto got out of there. He went to the Yankees, and dude, he's like an MVP candidate.
Yeah, isn't rumors that Tatis and Machado don't get along?
There's a whole. You can watch it on video, or they got in a fight in the dugout.
It's part of their ego. That's fine. Let them fight. Let them not like each other.
Yeah.
You don't want them to be the best team in baseball. Let them keep Machado.
Yeah.
Sign him to an extension.
Well, before you guys run, San Diego did make a trade. They bolstered their bullpen, getting Jason Adams from Tampa Bay, solid middle relief guy, ERA 2.49, WHIP 0.89.
I will say their owner is going
Solid.
for it. He's been going for it for a while. He'll throw all kinds of stuff at it.
Well, the owner last year, he passed away.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. Yeah.
So, but that's why last year he tried everything to give him one last run. So
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That's why they got the patch on.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, I think we have gone over a lot this episode. We're at 55 minutes, so almost an hour. We're trying to condense these a little bit more, but we love baseball. We love sports. We kind of talk a little bit more than we should. But if you got all if you got to the end of this episode, if you watched this entire way through, then that means you're a fan. That means you'd love to check out our Patreon page. Go check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/rotyourbrainmedia and help donate to the cause. Help contribute to help us make content. The more help we get, the more content we can make. We can keep the lights on, buy new cameras, get some sponsorships, maybe go to the bar, buy ourselves a drink. Who knows? Sky's the limit. Maybe we'll go out in our Toyota car that's been sponsoring us. Who knows what's happening? But thank you guys so much for, hanging out with us. This podcast is basically just to we're fans of baseball. We love baseball. We like talking about baseball.
Get us those likes, people.
Give us those likes. Smash the likes.
And
Give
subscribe.
us a thumbs up. Share the, share with your friends.
I was trying to cue you, Mike. That's your thing.
That's all right. It's gone long enough. We'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much. Have yourself a lovely day and night.
See you later, boys.
Yep.